Hey everyone, Kirsten here. Now, before I completely begin the video, I just wanted to say that it might take quite some time for my vacation vlog to get out, simply because you're talking about footage that took about like a full month, a little over a month to be exact, so I think I'm gonna have to start doing some weekly segments, if that is okay, because I just didn't want the video to be so extremely long. But so, beginning the video, I just wanted to make a really quick little disclaimer. This video is not about me trying to pressure you into becoming a vegetarian. I'm just simply giving you my thoughts and feelings about it, the process of me becoming a vegetarian and whatnot. So I hope you guys can respect my decision that I finally made. So if you're gonna be one of those people that's just gonna comment like how much you love bacon or a greasy ass cheeseburger or something along those lines, honestly, don't even bother, because I'm probably gonna delete your comment anyway. But if you're gonna be one of those people that are interested in becoming a vegetarian and thinking that this video is gonna help you out in some sort of way, shape, or form, that's cool too. And if you're not vegetarian yourself, but you are just interested in finding out the reason behind vegetarianism or getting to learn a little bit about vegetarianism, that's totally fine too. So today I thought I would be touching on a subject I thought about for quite some time now. It took me a lot of thinking and planning out on how to go about starting this video. So now finally here I am sitting down and trying to chat with you guys on this vegetarian conversation that I thought about planning with you guys for a while. So again, with all that rambling being said, I am going to go ahead and get started now. So to start from the beginning, I just thought I would kind of clear this up first. So I was grown up and raised eating meat before I became a vegetarian. So I think when I was a bit younger, I knew I wasn't much of a meat eating person to begin with, but for some weird reason, I did have the exception of eating certain types of meat. Like, for me, I would be okay with eating chicken and fish, maybe a little bit of a hamburger here and there, but other than that, I didn't really care much for other meats. Like, I knew I didn't care too much for red meats, or even pork for that matter, before I became a vegetarian, of course. And you know, for some weird reason, the older I got, the more I started to realize that I think meat, at least for me, it tasted pretty disgusting because, I don't know, just the texture of it and the way it makes me feel afterward, I just didn't really feel good about myself at all. And to be honest, before I became a vegetarian, I felt so miserable about myself. I was pretty overweight. I was just having digestive issues before I became vegetarian. Just all these issues that were going on, it just got worse and worse, and I felt like complete shit afterwards each and every time. I was lacking energy, I lacked confidence, I lacked a whole bunch of things that were going on with myself that I just felt complete shit about, to be honest. The more I ate meat, the more I developed some complicated digestive issues, like with constipation and indigestion a lot of times. Because I was developing these sort of symptoms and problems, finally, something in me was like, you know what? I've just had enough of this shit. I can't eat meat anymore. Now, when I first made the decision about becoming a vegetarian, the majority of my folks were very accepting about it. I know I randomly told my grandmother about this the other day, and she was pretty accepting about it, or at least back in May sometime this year. My brother was pretty okay about it, but sometimes he'll make a comment like, oh, did you eat chicken today? Or, hey, there's meat on the counter if you want it, or something along those lines. Sometimes my cousin Dominic will tease about it, saying like, oh, there's chicken in it, or there's beef in it, or something like that. My Uncle Jason is also accepting about it, but sometimes he'll question on whether I should eat certain types of meat or not. Like, I know the other day when Aunt and my uncle decided to pick me up from the airport, they'll ask if it's okay for me to eat crustaceans, and I'm all like, vegetarians don't eat crustaceans, or shellfish for that matter. But they were gonna go into Red Lobster, and I just said, no, I'm not gonna eat it. Well, of course, when I went in there with them, I just simply got pasta without shrimp or lobster in it or something. That's all I pretty much ordered from there to begin with. I was also struggled to lose weight as well. So I used to have an eating disorder where I would just eat so much every single day. Like, I would just constantly eat until I became full all the time. I was just developing more problems, and I eventually discovered the vegetarian lifestyle, and I actually thought it suited quite well for me. And the only regret I have about being a vegetarian is the fact that I didn't get a chance to start the lifestyle sooner. Now, in terms of my eating disorder and my weight issue, believe it or not, I used to weigh, I think, about 198 pounds. So I was about a shy close to reaching that 200-pound limit. So then I started to eat a little bit more less than usual. I slowly started to lose weight that way. But then I wasn't losing any weight any further than that. And it was because of this meat-eating lifestyle I continued to eat during that time. And then when I finally decided to become a vegetarian and just decided to change my eating habit lifestyle altogether, I started to lose a bit more weight afterwards. And to be honest, for somebody like me, I went from 198 pounds all the way down to 171, which was quite a dramatic weight loss for me there, because I never thought that just becoming vegetarian in itself just would help me with all of my weight issues. So the more I became a vegetarian, the more I realized that my skin was glowing. I felt a lot more happier. I feel more confident about myself. I feel sexier. I feel just overall just feel really great, and I feel very energized, and all these wonderful feelings that I have about myself that I never thought I would be having in so many years. Believe me when I say that. Another thing I wanted to really touch on about the benefits of becoming a vegetarian, or possibly even vegan. Now, I know this is like completely out of my comfort zone for me to completely talk about this, but when you're vegetarian or when you're vegan, for instance, sex or masturbation will tend to be a little bit more enjoyable. Like, you'll feel so much intense pleasure just from, pleasing yourself. I mostly became vegetarian due to health reasons. Some people do it for ethnical reasons, like for planet and the environment, but honestly, whether somebody is vegetarian, vegan, or somebody that eats meat, whatever works for you, you just completely go for it. Because coming from somebody that got out of the meat eating lifestyle, honestly, I just don't have an issue with it. Some people will crack a joke, like about how I should start eating meat and that kind of stuff, which I know some people are joking about that, but some people just have a tendency to be a complete asshole about it and say like, oh, you know, your way of eating is so extreme, it's ridiculous. How can you not consume meat and not gain enough protein and all this other shit? And honestly, I just find it completely funny that vegetarianism and veganism can sometimes be looked down upon in society, and honestly, it should be the other way around, because when people consume meat in their daily diets, then you often wonder why people are obese, overweight, have heart disease, other cancer and health problems. And yes, for men, if you consume meat, then you are definitely going to have a hard time getting a hard-on when you get your blood circulating into your penis. Seriously, for some people that don't understand too much about it, or people that have a tendency to be a complete asshole on that subject, I just feel like snapping back, saying like how crazy it is to consume meat that contains cholesterol, that feeds cancer cells, causes obesity and diabetes and all these other crazy health issues. But you know what? I just don't give a shit. I honestly don't. When I first became a vegetarian, now you gotta remember, I've been a vegetarian now for about like, I want to say about 4 or 5 months to be exact. So I've been a vegetarian since May of 2016. So that was quite a big gap into just me becoming vegetarian. Overall, I couldn't have felt even more happier with the fact that I chose this lifestyle when I did to begin with. I watched a lot of documentaries on the meat industry, and there's like this video clip that was being played on YouTube, and it was by a company called Mercy for Animals, and basically it is a pretty graphic video on how animals were being slaughtered for meat. And coming from somebody like me who's a huge fan of like horror and other graphic elements of that nature, anything to do with any sort of animal that's being tortured and slaughtered, just, it broke my heart to pieces, because I can't understand how anybody could watch that film and just continue eating meat afterwards. It's almost like people would rather sweep that problem under the rug and just pretend like that issue isn't even going on. You just gotta remember, you're not living in Fantasyland where everything is unicorns and butterflies. This is a really tough reality that is happening to these poor animals. And the thing I'd like to ask people that continue to consume meat and be aware of that type of situation that's going on today, I just simply want to ask somebody, if it's not good enough for your eyes, then why isn't it good enough for your stomach? I watched that video clip and I can't imagine to continue to support a program, an industry that causes so much cruelty to those poor animals. I wouldn't even dream of hurting a dog or a pig, a cow or a horse. each one of these animals are just as equally as precious as your pets. You can argue with me and start shit with me all you want about how you think that lifestyle is so extreme, when the most extremist thing of it all, it's not just the fact that people are aware of the torture and slaughter and exploitation of these animals. It's just the fact of the aftermath of eating so much meat for a really long time that lacks fiber, that lacks all these nutrients that you do need for your body. And for some weird reason, instead of listening to people that's working best for them, they would rather just go to a doctor and say, like, hey, purchase more drugs from us. We want you to be sick still. We don't want you to get better. At one point in my life, I was almost diabetic myself. And if I haven't found this lifestyle, I probably would have been so sick. I wish I was joking about this, but for some weird reason, whenever I consume meat products like pork, for instance, I would almost throw up. Each time I would eat beef, I would get real sharp pains in my stomach. No joke. No joke whatsoever. I would always have like these bad digestive issues. I think one of the biggest misconceptions about people that are either vegan or vegetarian, people would always claim that we're not getting enough protein in our diet, or that we're gonna eventually get a vitamin deficiency one day. Honestly, whether you do become a vegetarian or a vegan, you won't necessarily have to worry about protein because you're already gaining protein as it is. What people don't understand is that plant really is protein. For example, you got leafy greens like spinach, kale, and agrula. Those are pretty good sources of protein. And then you got nuts, seeds, beans, and lentils that are high in protein. And of course you cannot forget about soy products and pasta and all this other type of stuff. People don't realize that certain plants that you do consume in your diet does have protein in it. And I just find it so funny that people would just make a claim about that just to give an excuse for somebody. People will say like, oh, I would love to become a vegetarian, but I like bacon too much. I wish I could become a vegetarian, but I like chicken too much. I love those meats. Another misconception about people that are either vegetarian or vegan, like to give an example, some people will claim that vegetarians eat fish, and I'm all like, vegetarians don't eat fish. That's like saying a vegan eats honey. Like, that's just so stupid. Since when does fish become a vegetable? Like, I just don't get it. It's just the mindset of people, like, I don't know what goes through their head when they think that we're eating fish or whatnot. If somebody claims that they're a vegetarian but they eat fish, then they're not really particularly vegetarian. They're just considered to be pescatarian. That's all I'm saying. Another misconception would be people thinking that vegans and vegetarians are the same thing. It's really not the same thing at all. There's like a completely big difference. So I do know that vegetarians and vegans are on the same page with not consuming any sort of animals, like meat, for instance. Now with vegans, on the other hand, not only do they not consume any meat, they also don't eat any other animal products or animal byproducts. Like, for example, I know that vegans don't eat milk, eggs, gelatin, that kind of stuff. But another misconception would be it's not just a choice in diet, it's also a lifestyle too. So like they'll purchase any sort of toiletries and makeup that don't have any animal products in them, and they won't go to zoos or shows, that kind of thing. So if somebody claims that they have a vegan diet, but then they go to, like, let's say for example a zoo or a circus or something, then I think, in my honest opinion, that would be considered to just have a plant-based diet. Please do understand where I'm coming from, and please do be in my shoes for once, because this is not me giving out a hate speech about meat eaters, or this is not me defending like the vegetarian or vegan lifestyle. Again, whatever you choose to consume in your daily diet, I don't care, you know, do whatever it is that you want to do. But I think the biggest issue and why vegans and vegetarianism is such a controversy is because people either don't understand the lifestyle, or some people also have kind of like an extreme view about it. Like, I know, like with vegans, for instance, they do have a tendency to really call out or act like such an extremist about like how their diet is just so horrible, or whatever type of comment or accusation they'll just throw at you. And that's not okay. I do find it to be true that once you consume enough plants in your diet, that your inner as well as your outer beauty will just tend to shine so throughly. Being a part of this lifestyle has made me feel so much better about myself and so much confidence. It's just unbelievable. Whether you are a vegetarian like I am, whether you're a vegan, whether you're a meat eater, whether you're a flexitarian or a semi-vegetarian, or even if you're a semi-vegan, you do whatever it is you need to do that makes you feel good about yourself. Again, this is not me trying to convince you into turning you into a vegetarian or a vegan, but this is just me giving out my personal opinion on my journey to being a vegetarian. Again, this is not a hate speech. This is not a converting into veganism thing. This is just my personal opinion and outlook of just me being a vegetarian for months. I hope you can respect that. So that is basically it for my thoughts and outlook on myself personally of becoming a vegetarian for quite some time now. I hope this video helps you out in any way, shape, or form of my personal opinion about being a vegetarian. So if you did, be sure to sucker punch that like button down below. Comment down below as well. And if you haven't already, please do dedicate the time and effort to subscribe to my lovely channel to become a part of my army of darkness, and you will be updated with a brand new video every single Friday, so that is that. Again, thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you guys so much for respecting my opinion and my outlook on being a vegetarian. So, with all that being said, again, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a chill week, an awesome day or night, and I will talk to you all soon in the next video. So until then, stay dark, my friends. Bye.